Well, I do definitely recall a few trolls here on my channel, bless them, insisting that I was wrong to say that US President Donald Trump effectively had a veto over the appalling Labour Chagos Island surrender. But Labour themselves now admitting that Trump does have a veto. Now, of course, this absurd surrender, likely to boost communist China, that we are going to pay an absolute fortune to give up sovereignty, to hand over sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. It's going to be in the billions. It gets even worse because that defence spending increase, that funding could actually go towards this absolutely absurd sellout surrender. As for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is in America today, meeting with Trump, well, you see the assessment from voters as to how well they think he's going to get on in terms of negotiating with Trump. But yeah, alarm bells ringing that this defence spending increase could be blown on this absurd sellout. Now, of course, leading the criticism of this horrendous deal has been Nigel Farage, and he did so again in Parliament yesterday.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I have to say, as an elected representative of a very young political party, I watched this game going on between the two old parties and find it difficult to conclude that it's anything other than a complete and utter charade. Whilst I agree with the Right Honourable Member from Whittam, who made the argument this is British sovereign territory, there is nothing to be gained, literally nothing to be gained by giving it away, and I see the benches behind her cheering, but this was the party that went through, as we heard earlier, 11 rounds of negotiations. The Conservative government was happy to surrender the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands, but didn't like the final shape of the deal. And then we go on to the government, who tell us this has to be done because of legal uncertainty. But of course, there is no legal uncertainty whatsoever. And you know, you can shake your heads if you want, but you know I'm right. The ICJ has no jurisdiction over this whatsoever. So why are we doing it? Well, I guess, of course, post-colonial guilt, a government run by human rights lawyers. Beyond that, I really don't understand it. But you know something? I made a comment earlier about the cost. I promise you, 90 million a year for 99 years with with 3% compounded inflation is £52 billion. That, of course, is madness.
And yeah, the Labour government now admitting that Trump does have a veto. This was the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, being pretty clear on Trump's power over this whole horrendous deal. Watch this and do let me know if you think the deal should be vetoed or not.
On a military level and an intelligence level, we're very intertwined with the United States. We struck a deal. After striking that deal, there was a change of government in Mauritius, and the new government in Mauritius had to have time to look at the deal. And there has been a change of government here in the United States, and the United States administration have had time to look at the deal. I still believe it's the best deal.
But does President Trump have a veto?
Well, if President Trump doesn't like the deal will not go forward. And the reason for that is because we have a shared military and intelligence interest with the United States, and of course they've got to be happy with the deal, or there is no deal.